Hi guys, this is Anthony and from our HS 378.04 Healthcare Leadership and Strategy class. My topic this week is on John Wooden, who is the winningest NCAA championship coach in NCAA history, winning at one point 10 out of 12 years in a row. Just a phenomenal guy. But what made him phenomenal was his lifestyle of leadership, not just the winning on the court that he did. He is known, in addition to his basketball prowess, for his pyramid of success, which encompasses 15 principles of success, where he not only taught this to his players, but has taught this through books and other things throughout the course of his life. And that's what I'm going to be primarily focusing on today. A little bit about his history. John was born in rural America in 1910, and within a few years was forced to leave the farm that his family had raised him for part of his life on, and go into a city where he was taught from difficult experiences what it was to really put family first, and he learned at that age to prioritize not necessarily work, but prioritize family and the things that were important. He joined the high school basketball team, met a girl, fell in love, and did very well in both respects. He later married that same girl, whose name was Nellie, and during the course of his high school career made a name for himself as a basketball player, being the captain of the team from the time he was a sophomore to the time he was a senior, losing as a sophomore and coming back, if you guys have ever seen the movie Hoosiers, to win against Muncie Central in the championship game of basketball that year in an amazing way under Coach Glenn. The following year, however, was a little bit different. He again made it to the championship with his Martinsville High School team, but they lost, and they lost at the very end of the game, in a very tight game, because he missed a shot. And he said that throughout the rest of his life, that was the most disappointing thing that ever happened to him as a player, and he did some amazing things as a player, becoming a three-time All-American for Purdue when he moved his career as a basketball player there. He also was the captain of their team and received many awards for his prowess, both as a basketball player but also as a scholarship, earning the Big Ten Medal for Scholarship and Prowess, which is basically like being an academic All-American, but of the entire Big Ten, and later in 1932 became the College Player of the Year. Shortly thereafter is actually when he married Nellie, his wife, and they moved away and ended up in Dayton, Kentucky, where he became the athletic director and coach and English teacher for the school, and coached the Dayton High Green Devils to his first and only losing season of his career, ending up 6-11. That kind of set the stage for what he would do throughout the course of his later life. He never again had a losing season, which is unheard of in any kind of sport. But he built that pyramid that we were talking about 2 slides ago or so from various principles that he knew to be correct. And in addition to that, what we don't see on the sides are what he called the mortar. And they are the underlying principles that establish the ones that he's got in the blocks there as being not only important, but help them to succeed. And the first two for that foundation, if you will, are ambition and sincerity. That as a leader, you have to be ambitious. You have to focus on purposes that you believe you can succeed in, not only for yourself, but as worthy purposes, so that your outcome is based on goals rather than selfishness, and that you move forward in them, lifting other people, making friends, and keeping them, not just leaving them behind as things go by. John was well known for being loved by his players, not just through the course of their seasons, but long after. In 1947, one of these scenarios, one of the reasons why he was so loved, his team did incredibly well. They won the conference championship and were invited to attend one of the largest tournaments of the year, the National Association of Intercollegiate Basketball Tournament, which he rejected to participate in because African Americans weren't allowed to participate. He felt strongly that anyone good enough to play should be allowed to play, regardless of skin color. It didn't matter to him. And the situation was repeated the following year. They asked him to come again. He refused because they hadn't changed their policy. Well, this forced them to go back to their drawing board, and a couple weeks later they came back to him and said, well, we've changed the rules so they can play. At which point Wooden accepted, and they went on and played and did very well in the tournament. The next set, so we're down to 4 blocks here. The 2 underlying principles are adaptability and productive honesty. And if you look at these principles that he's got there, self-control and alertness and initiative and intentiveness, how do those apply? Well, adaptability helps you realize that there needs to be a change. Kind of like faith and repentance and proactive honesty not only allows you to go forward with that adaptability, but recognizing that you need to make the change and being honest enough with yourself to adapt and move on from there to take the initiative and change. It's a proactive way that he chose to ambitiously work throughout his coaching career. Now, I love this. He set priorities on people first, and that came with family. But he makes this distinction. He was a man of faith, and he says that earlier in his life, he put family before faith. And then he notes this. He says, I fixed that, but I always tried to keep work 4th on the list. So we're talking out of the top 3 even. And he was proud when his wife, Nellie, told an interview, I never could tell whether John had a good or bad practice because he never brought it home. When we're looking at the skills that we've learned this semester, how does keeping, believing in these kind of principles, even in the midst of great success, how do you do that? And I think there's some incredible emotional intelligence here from John Wooden. He found his strength not in succeeding, not through self-satisfaction, but by knowing that he did the best that he could. Everything that he tried to do was about lifting others and making them better, and that helped him to be his best self. He put his entire self out there, and as humbly as he could, he walked forward with his head held high, patient, working to do his best. The next tier is underpinned, if you will, or mortared up by a resourcefulness and reliability. And I love what he says about resourcefulness. He says, it is using our wits, proper judgment, and common sense to solve problems and meet challenges. It is using initiative in difficult situations and involves inventing, creating, imagining, synthesizing, evaluating, classifying, observing, and analyzing situations to overcome the trials life throws at us. Resourcefulness is dreaming up ways to meet your goals. Whew! Okay, if you don't think that means seeing the end from the beginning, wow, that's how you get there, is you take the initiative to make whatever changes need to happen to get you where you need to go. You have the vision to see what you can be, and then you take that forward with the skill and the conditioning to create a team that will be able to lead you or to draw you that direction. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, he said, because character is what you really are, while your reputation merely is what others think about you. And knowing that, it makes absolute sense that the next principles he put in there were fight, to do what is right at the right time, not waiting to do it or trying to put it back and procrastinate, and having the integrity to know that there's more than just talent and that it's not all about you, but to do your best and to always do your best, not just for yourself, but to lift your team, to have a wide focus of how that can affect other people. So I'd ask you guys, how does this level of Wooden's leadership specifically model, if you will, clarify emotional intelligence? How does it show us a little bit more into what that really is? Couple of statistics for those of you who are waiting for these. There's that high school coaching career record, which is just phenomenal. 218 wins to 48 losses, more than 4-1. That is incredibly hard to do. I don't know if it's ever been beaten. I couldn't find that online, but incredibly hard to do, and he did it. Later on in his life, in 1948, when he took the position coaching UCLA, he took a 3-9 program, and the next year turned it around to a 10-2 by teaching them the same principles we've been talking about. And over the next 15 years, his performance was good, but it wasn't stellar. They won a lot of minor championships, but they never made any noise really in the NCAA tournaments. Of 3 of the 5 times that they made it there, they actually lost in the first round. And so, finally getting a little bit past that later on in those years. However, starting with his victory against Duke in 1963-1964 season, they became the dominant powerhouse in the NCAA tournament, winning 10 of 12 years in a row, and actually making it to the championship 11 of those 12 years. That has never, like I said before, ever been equaled. It's been half of that. The closest coach got halfway there, and he still hasn't gotten past that, which is amazing, just completely amazing. Just before the last during the last season, just before the NCAA tournament, Coach Wooden announced that he would retire regardless of what the outcome of the tournament was. He was done with coaching, but he was not done coaching in life. And he says this. I mean, we've just gone over what his accomplishments are on the basketball court, but this is what he says, and I think that this is really where we need to look, not just, in our healthcare endeavors, whatever we choose to do managing there, but in life. And he says, my success comes not from championships, but from the knowledge that I did everything possible to be the best teacher, coach, and leader I was capable of being. The quality of that effort is where I found and continue to find success. Those championships were a byproduct. And when we go forward as good leaders, using these kind of principles and living a principled life, the championships that we have in life may not be on a basketball court. They'll be with the people that we are chosen to lead. And they will know from what we do that they are of primary importance, not just to us, but to the success of the endeavor that we are trying to promote and strengthen and build. And so here we go. We reach our conclusion. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction and knowing you made the effort to do your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. The last 2 principles that John Wooden talks about are faith and patience. And of these, he says that blended in the proper amount, you have the formula for true success. And it's patience not just in other people, but patience in yourself to do the right things, to wait for the right times, and to be patient with yourself to learn the things that you need to become the leader and the person that you want to be. So guys, we've gotten to the end, and here are my questions. I hope that the presentation was helpful for you. I hope that it taught you a little bit. I know it was a lot, but when it comes to synergy, that's what he's all about. These principles bind people together. Synergy is about unity. So here's my questions. How do the principles of John Wooden's leadership pyramid create synergy in a workplace? How do synergy and unity complement each other? And did Wooden's leadership style lead to a more united team? And is that the reason for his success? If you think so, why? If not, why? I look forward to hearing your answers, and I'm happy to respond to them. I hope to hear from you soon. And thank you so much for paying attention and listening to this. Take care. We'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.